you, Mr. Chairman, President Manner, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to make these presentations. I'd like to talk about spontaneous chant. These are topics of my presentation, and let me start with definition. Spontaneous chant is collaterally demonstrated in patients with portal hypertension. It's due to reopening of embryonic venous channel, typically connecting the gastric or splenic veins to the left renal vein or the inferior vena cava. It's collateral, resembling surgically constructed shunts in the size and connection. You can see this schema which shows main spontaneous shunts. There are 13 post-seismic shunts. For example, this is US image of left gastric vein, which is a major pathway to esophageal varices. And left side, you will find left gastric vein with hepatofugal flow direction, because this patient chose this patient. But you can see right side, you will also find left gastric vein, but this is hepatopetal flow direction. What I mean is, left gastric vein is present even normal subjects, even in us. So actually this is not a shunt vessel created by reopening of embryonic venous channel. Also today this presentation focuses on the collaterals identified as splenorenal shunts, gastrorenal shunts, and PUV, which are caused by reopening of embryonic venous channel. Next topic, clinical relevance. When we diagnose spontaneous shunts, we use imaging modality like US, CT, or MRI. And if we use Doppler US, we can assess hemodynamics. For example, this patient shows medium-grade gastric fundal varices, and you can see shunt vessel using US, CT, and MRI. Also, we can assess hemodynamics using Doppler US. Of course, we can perform angiography, but it's an invasive procedure, so it's really performed for diagnostic purpose. This table shows the incidence of spontaneous shunt in cirrhosis patient. Splenorenal shunts almost 10%, gastrorenal shunts almost 40%, and PUV 26%. How about influence? As you expect, presence of splenorenal shunt is closely associated with the development of hepatic encephalopathy. How about the influence on esophageal varices? You can see here patient with PUV shows much worse degree of esophageal varices. Why? Because patient with PUV shows much higher incidence of left gastric vein, which is a major pathway to esophageal varices. Why? Because patient with PUV shows much higher HBPZ. So I can tell you this, the presence of PUV is a sign for the presence of advanced portal hypertension. What about the influence on gastric varices? And you will find the close correlation and close relationship with the presence of short gastric vein for the presence of gastric varices. And this study shows the relationship between hemodynamics in the spleen-renal shunt and clinical decompensation. You will find a higher incidence of decompensation as the degree of spleen-renal shunt gets worse. And this is data recently published in Gastroenterology, which shows the close linkage between the presence or degree of portosystemic shunts and cumulative transplant-free survival. So we should be careful about the management with spontaneous shunt because of the advanced degree of liver condition. Let's move on to the next topic, management. Management means embolization of spontaneous shunt using IVR technique. Of course, we can use the coiling for the embolization of spontaneous shunt, but now it is not first-line approach. We initially use BRTO for the embolization of quaterals. It is catheterization using sclerosant. We use balloon catheter for temporal occlusion of quateral and to inject sclerosant. Outflow route, typically gastrorenal shunt, is a key vessel to insert balloon catheter. Here is angiographic image of patient with gastric varices. You can see gastric varices and gastrorenal shunt as outflow route. You know, more than 80% of the patients with gastric varices have gastrorenal shunt as outflow route. Let me explain the procedure for BLTO. Here you will find gastric varices and 3 inflow routes, and gastrorenal shunt as outflow route, left renal vein and inferior vena cava. And we insert balloon catheter like this, and we dilate the balloon to control visceral blood flow. And then we inject sclerosant, and finally gastric varices completely disappear. This is a retrograde venogram taken from balloon catheter. You will find a gastric varices and inflow route. How it works? If we perform BLTO, the gastric varices completely disappear. This is a movie image. Here, inferior vena cava and left renal vein. And you will find a dilated balloon to control visceral outflow. And this is like a test injection using iodinated contrast material. And contrast material remains, which means we could control the visceral outflow. You will find the outline of stomach. This is a retrograde venogram taken from the balloon catheter. Here you will find gastric varices. Now it's ready to inject sclerosant. Here you will find 3 papers which shows almost 100% occlusion effect with no or less recurrence. And this study shows long-term effect of VRTO, which contained 81 cirrhosis patients, median follow-up period here, and cumulative survival rate 90% at 1 year, 74.8% at 3 years, and 57.2% at 5 years. Presence of SCC and liver function result, these are influencing factors for survival. How about safety? Pain, hemoglobinuria, and fever, these are common complications, and severe complication is rare. However, in the long-term aspect, we should be careful about the aggravation of esophageal varices, but we can control esophageal varices by using band ligation. A good thing is we can apply this technique for the spontaneous shunt other than gastric varices. You can see here this is a case with inferior mesenteric vein shunt, and after VRTO, we could completely control hepatic encephalopathy. Let me summarize my presentation. Spontaneous shunt is a common condition in cirrhosis and is associated with gastroesophageal varices, hepatic encephalopathy, clinical decompensation, and poor prognosis. VRTO is a safe and effective technique for the embolization of spontaneous shunt. However, further study is required for the substantial survival benefit of VRTO for spontaneous shunt. And at the last of my presentation, I'd like to introduce after 2020 meeting in Tokyo, date and the venue here. I'm sure coronavirus will be gone in October, so please come to Japan and enjoy Tokyo City. Thank you very much.